Can you imagine trying to get from place to place without interstates, highways, cars, or even a paved road? Well, when settlers arrived in Indiana, they didn't have any of those things. They had to travel on foot, on horseback, or even by canoe. A few roads and trails existed, but they were rugged and difficult to navigate. The best road was created by buffalo, not people. Herds of buffalo trampled down a path for centuries as they migrated through what would become Indiana land. Instead of forging a new path, most settlers used the buffalo's road, known as the Buffalo Trace. If a family was moving to a new area, or a business was delivering supplies, people loaded up sturdy wagons that could cross the rough trails without breaking. About 2 wagons could fit side by side on the Buffalo Trace. It took a long time to get to where you needed to go. For example, to go from Cincinnati to Indianapolis today, it would take you about 2 hours in a car. But back then, it took 2 or 3 days. When Indiana started moving its capital from Corydon to Indianapolis in 1824, it took the group 11 days and 4 wagons to make the 130-mile journey. Since moving across land was so challenging, water provided a much faster and easier way for people to travel. The Ohio River was the most important means of transportation for Indiana settlers between 1800 and 1825. Most Hoosiers chose to live in the southern part of the state early on because that's where flatboats and steamboats shipped goods. The Wabash River connected with the Ohio River, making it a major trade route farmers used to move their produce. Later, the Wabash River would be named our official state river. After Indiana became a state in 1816, we needed help with our transportation problem because poor roads made it difficult for people to communicate and to do business. That was not good for a new state trying to grow and contribute to the national economy. So the federal government decided to give us grant money to build better roads and canals. The National Road was built from 1829 to 1834 to connect the state to the rest of the country and allow more people to move through Indiana on their way west. The Wabash and Erie Canal was another big project that started in 1832. Over 1,000 workers that were mostly Irish immigrants used shovels, picks, and wheelbarrows to dig the canal. It was extremely hard work, and it took over 20 years to complete. The canal stretched 468 miles from the Great Lakes in northern Indiana to the Ohio River in the south. People made homes along the canal where forests, swamps, and prairies used to be, and farmers moved crops and livestock on the water. In the time the canal was dug, Indiana's population tripled, and people began to settle all over the state instead of just in the southern part along the river. In the mid-1800s, railroads started to pop up all over the state. Residents had to give some of their money to the businesses building the railroads so they could begin construction. Many people invested their money in the railroad businesses because they knew the railroads would connect Indiana towns and cities with St. Louis, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Chicago, and East Coast cities. This was good for Hoosiers, who could then expand their businesses as far as the rail line went. By 1920, Indiana had 7,600 miles of railways. Have you ever wondered why Indiana is known as the Crossroads of America? At first it was because more railroad companies moved through Indianapolis than any other city in the nation. Now we're called the Crossroads of America because more interstates cross through Indiana than any other state in the country. In the 1950s, highways and interstates began to replace the old modes of transportation. Today, we have 13 interstates, and vehicles drive around 81 billion miles on our roads in a single year. We also have adapted to air travel, with 117 public airports and 564 private airports to choose from in the state. We sure have come a long way from muddy trails and sturdy wagons to being recognized as the crossroads of America.